Overnight, an emergency summit of European leaders, which is coming next week. Sir Keir Starmer has said this is a once-in-a-generational moment for European security. Why?
Well, first of all, we should welcome the fact that the US president wants to see an end to the conflict. We all want to see that. Very much agree that has to include Ukraine. That is the position of the UK government. There will be no durable peace without involvement of European partners, particularly the Ukrainians, as part of that. What the US has said repeatedly, and has been a part of their programme for some time, is they would like to see Europe make a greater contribution to the collective defence of Europe. I think everyone recognises there is a reasonability behind that. So that is how Europe has to respond. I believe we in the UK can play a part as that bridge between the US and Europe as we adjust to this new era, and it certainly is a new era. But I think it would be wrong to portray this as some sort of fundamental breach. There is still a great deal of common ground between the US and its European allies. We must play our part in strengthening that.
What can this European summit achieve then when the Americans and the Russians appear to be deciding everything for themselves in talks in Saudi Arabia next week?
Well, what the US will want is not just an end to the fighting. Like ourselves, they'll want a durable peace plan to be in place.
This separate meeting of European leaders, what can be achieved with that?
We are going to need to respond, as people who live on the European continent, to this request from the US for a greater contribution to collective security. I think we have to recognise that has been a US aspiration for some time. It is certainly a part of the agenda of this administration. We have always been a leading defence power in the UK. We have an interest as well in seeing not only Europe make that contribution. I think there's a whole range of things we should be doing to make sure our industrial and defence base is as it needs to be to meet this new challenge. But again, we will make sure we are building that relationship, strengthening that relationship between the US and Europe. Don't portray this as some sort of attempt to fundamentally breach what has been one of the most effective and important defensive alliances in history.